Dustin Kawa, CEO, co-founder of Takedown. We decided to pivot to mask when schools and sports were shut down and we saw revenue drop nearly 100% week after week. And around the third or fourth week, honestly, I went into what I call survival mode. I think back to businesses thousands of years ago when you had a property or a piece of land and a storm comes in and wipes it out. Visually, that's kind of what I thought when schools and sports shut us down, that we just got wiped out. And the only way we could survive was to go adapt to what the next need is. And what I recognized is there was a need for masks and gowns, and we found this opportunity in front of us. But think about it, the entire country, several hundred million people needed masks instantly. And they didn't just need one, they needed multiple. Supplies ran out from overseas, supplies got cut off from overseas, and then suddenly US manufacturing, the country really relied on US manufacturing to make these masks to be able to save themselves. The true driver behind this were about 8 minds and then all the talented sewing team that we have. So that was one of our biggest challenges was A, how do we staff up? So we hired 150 people in 14 days, which I don't even know how you do that. We were doing 35 interviews a day. We had a 5-person HR team, which we didn't have internally. We converted marketing people to HR. We converted sewing managers to HR. One of our sewing managers turned into an engineer for sewing equipment. So he converted all the equipment over to cater towards the need of how to make a mask. Director of finance, day one of Corona, steps in. He becomes night shift manager, stepped up, did 100 hours. So just backing out from there, committed to 100 hours a week. When you hear people talk about, I had 60-hour work weeks, he was truly committed to 100 hours. Our lead screen printer transfer over in 24 hours. She was able to sew fully at the level of somebody who's been sewing for a few years. We pulled 2 of our artists that have an eye and are kind of crafty. We pulled them over to sewing and they were running full production sewing within days of doing it. I had my sales team, who was selling to sports and teams, no longer selling to sports and teams. They're back there running, managing quality control and shipping. When I tell you the entire company converted, I mean, we're a design fashion company on one end, and then we're production manufacturing, but we needed 100% participation on all levels to do it. So it was a special experience with our company. When I was leading the team masked meeting every week, I entered every meeting telling everybody flexibility is our key. Being flexible and understanding that we have to adapt and be flexible. And the reason why is because no, it was not something that you could just look up and figure. And the other challenge is the media was putting out multiple messages. 10 weeks ago was a different message than today. So what we did is we engineered the mask that we thought. So we had about 30 prototypes go through the system, literally in days, and then came up with the mask that we thought was the highest functional mask. And so now we're over 1 million masks. It's arguably the coolest experience in my life, other than us probably starting a sewing factory in that story, because I physically lived at the facility for 3 months. And this was a team effort. This wasn't a Dustin effort. I made certain calls, but what my team did was unbelievable, from management down to the people that were willing to come in here and at the time what you would call is risk your life. There were people that were scared. There were people that were coming to me privately and saying their entire family have lost their jobs. Ultimately, we offered a very safe environment. We were running cleaning crews every hour. We were running cleaning crews in between shifts. We were all wearing masks. We were disinfecting the building. I mean, we, knock on wood, did not have a Corona case in 3 months of operating so far, which is a huge win outside of successfully producing what we did. Now people are looking towards is to be able to brand themselves and their fashion pieces. So at Publix, if I'm an employee there, I'm going to wear a uniform and it's going to be Publix branded. So that'll continue from the customization piece, and that's really where we specialize, is on branded customized pieces. People's health is going to stay in their thoughts for years to come. So my overarching feeling is, A, I feel blessed. Secondly, I feel that my team's ability to be able to pivot during a survival mode is unbelievable. And it just shows the kind of core of who Takedown is and has been since we started, which is not saying we can get through anything, but that's kind of our mentality, that anything put in front of us, we're going to get in front of. That failure is not an option.